Hi there, it's me, Gamer Tire here. I'm recapping My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 17, Total Episode 155. Please subscribe, watch fully, and send donations. Thanks. Let's get started. At Central Hospital, just as Kokori was awakened, the injured heroes and rioters from Spinner's regime was being transported inside the treatment to be treatment. In the midst of it, Lady Magnet is trying to leave the facility in spite of her status as a jawbreaker, and the doctor's warnings that her wounds might open up again. She fights through the pain and keep pushing on, as she's inspired to assist the heroes thanks to Deku, reaching out to her back then to reunite the kind, heroic spirit she's shut away for several years. Rock intervenes and tells the doctor to leave her be, and he'll take responsibility for anything she does, and hands the woman a cell phone containing the battle layout for Operation Troy. He tells the Lady Magnet that if her heart tells her that she needs to help Deku out, then he has her full support. In the present, the woman fights through the heavy recoil on the first two shots she made at Tamura, which caused her wounds to start opening up. Through the rain, heavy wind, and pushed by her great gratefulness for Deku, helping her regain a sense of hope for the future. She fires one last shot and blows off Tamura's other hand before falling unconscious into the pool of her split blood. With decay temporarily inaccessible, Deku wastes no time in holding off the villain after regaining his energy. He tackles Demura, blinding his arm stumps with Black Whip. It speedily barrels through the rubble across the coffin in the sky, so he can continue the fight on the ground to protect his allies. The All for One still grows furious and calls Lady Nagare a disposable. And is a hypocrite for fighting for the side despite the good side, despite all her atrocities. The Medstad then begins swelling a massive number of loose fingers at Tamura's voice, openly tells him about All for One's grand plan to groom him into a vengeful spirit successor that can hijack and weaponize into stealing one for all. Tamura then says he never wanted that to happen, so he hid the essence of his younger self deep inside as a secret repellent to his eventual fusion of consciousness. The man's vengeful then tries to use Tamura to call out Kuguragi to warp him to his original body's location, since his control on this body is beginning to impermanently slip. Kurigari can't follow his boss orders, as he too is having a mental battle between his will and Oboro's. Tamura's vengeance will crawl out of the shell of the hands he obscured himself with. Tells All for One that he doesn't care about All for One or any lofty ambitions related to that. He declares through the vestige realm and in his reclaimed body that he only hopes is to destroy anything linking back to his biological family. Deku and Tamura land on the remains of the city below and stare each other down, and while the boy is more than prepared to stop the villain from carrying out his dream, he's not going to ignore the spirit of Tenko he saw back then. Deku then lunges at Tamura at the climax fight continues in the ruined streets of Japan. Up at the school, Gentle's gently supernova is beginning to tear away as the man's body is starting to hit his limits. Although he's far away from the cameras and public attraction he's accustomed to when it comes to his grand acts, Gentle still tries to maintain his hold on the school with nothing but his own will and his urge to not let Deku down after he jumped off to deal with Tamura. He then looks up and is shocked to see Futo and Romondo recording his big moment as part of their full documentation of the conflict. He tells the boys to head back inside for their safety, but they refuse, as it's the business course job to provide a bridge between the public and the heroes. And the two want to make sure that everything and everyone gets proper recognition for their contributions in stopping the villains. Just then, after hacking the phones, while Brava contracts the business students on what they're doing, congratulates the business courses on what they're doing. Nomasa asks her not to waste time and fix UA's limitation system. However, it implies that she had already fixed it, and that her current intention was to use the students' phones to broadcast the phones footage live into a live stream for the world to see, claiming that she won't let Gentle's efforts go unseen. UA begins to float in the sky once again, making it much lighter for Gentle to hold again. Unfortunately, President Mike and Eraserhead then fall off the control platform thanks to doubles made by Himiko, overcrowding the area. Charge Bolt calls out to the teachers when suddenly the heroes are saved by a still disillusioned Kurigari, catching and teleporting them away, with which Mandalay presumes is the villain managing to make a calculated move and keeping the threat eraser away from Tamura. Back at the Gunga Mountain Villa ruins, the heroes fighting are having no luck in stopping the infestation of doubles with brute force, and some of them are beginning to transform into Tamura. Dobby, and All For One, however, none of them are able to use their quirks, and theoretically end the battle immediately in the villain's favor. Froppy presumes it's due to the fact that Himiko can only use the quirks of the people that she transforms into if she has deep love for them, like Twice and Your Gravity. And her quite has neutralized doubles restricted access to other people's quirks. Knowing this, she along with Your Gravity and Earphone Jack sent out and find the hero Himiko, both to stop Sad Man's death parade and circumvent the possible threat of those ability restrictions being taken from more drastic changes in Himiko's emotions. Under the swamp doubles, Himiko is falling into a mental breakdown, not being able to use Tamura and Dabi's quirks through double, despite her clear care for them. Meanwhile, All For One continues to try and fly towards Tamura, which Hawks in a hot pursuit, and Tsuruyumi flying behind him with Black Fallen Angel. He anticipated the event that he attempts to merge his consciousness of Tamura's would fail, and now wants to implant his quirk factor directly into his successor to regain control and really shut that out any mental rejection. After a failed attack from Hawks, All For One curls his hand and simply sheds the hero's body into pieces. Tsushima shook, then morphs into bewilderment as the man turns into his prodigy, now resembling the speaking like a stereotypical shoujo manga character. Hawks is then wafted away by All For One, revealing him to be a glamour illusion created by a just arriving Iwakami writing on one of Shiwaroku's meatballs. While another holds them rescued Hawks after a failed attack from Hawks. All For One curls. Sheds his ears onto his body, pierces, chocolate morphs. I might have mistalked that. Okay, Shigaraki in high school was tackled with managing the evades from UA in their high school, but due to the invitation by Skeptic, they didn't receive anyone. Figuring something is wrong, Their hero course and several alumni rush over to the ruins to assist in their rival schools' fight against the villains. That was some much needed and powerful backup. The heroes are now able to handle the endless twice doubles all over the battlefield. All for One reiterates to keep up the massive lead his forces have on the heroes and show them the true power of himself in his prime, and combines multiple quirks to create a giant pulsating spear of energy that originates across the battlefield and pins down his enemies. Gale Force flies up and traps all for One inside a whirlwind, which is carrying on an avalanche of projectiles sent by his peers straight down towards the villain. While the man repels the attacks, he keeps still by Gale Force wind as Hawks rides in on the close in on One for All. The villain then shudders and turns around to see that the enormous eyes of Dark Shadow, who's grown to terrifying heights from his total reverse thanks to Pixie Bob providing Tsunami cover to build his strength under the storm clouds, blocking out the sun and the wind, weakening Dobby's fire. Hawks yells for Tsunami to attack All for One, and Gale Force provides him with an extra boost in power by wrapping an air current around Dark Shadow's fist. The hero moves in and calls for Black Abyss, light of Baldur. As Dark Shadow shatters all for One's invisibility barrier with a colossal punch, smashing the villain into the ground. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Help reach 1,000 plus subscribers. Watching the videos fully helps increase the watch hours. Support us plus and help further by supporting the Patreon page at Anime Tower Pace Tunes, starting at $2 a month, or by subscribing on the Twitch channel Gamer Tower Twitch at $5.99 a month. Have a blessed day. See you next video visit. Bye for now. Bye.